Could alien life exist without a planet? Scientists uncover a mind-bending theory. When we think of finding alien life, we picture far-off planets with alien landscapes, swirling clouds, and maybe mysterious hints of life lurking somewhere in the shadows. But what if we've been limiting our search from the start? What if life doesn't need a planet to survive? Today, we're diving deep into a mind-bending new theory that suggests alien life could be floating freely through space, sustained by an environment of its own making. So why do scientists assume that alien life needs a planet in the first place? Well, Earth is our one and only reference. We have everything here. Gravity to keep things in place, a protective atmosphere that keeps temperatures just right, an abundance of essential elements like carbon and oxygen, and sunlight to power life. Since Earth is our only example, we naturally assume that life elsewhere would also need a solid planet, somewhere with the right atmosphere, water, and enough energy to survive. So when scientists search for extraterrestrial life, they typically focus on Earth-like planets. We look for rocky worlds with atmospheres and oceans orbiting within a star's habitable zone, the region where conditions might allow liquid water. But what if that's only one way life could exist? In a groundbreaking new study, scientists are challenging this idea. They've proposed that maybe, just maybe, life doesn't actually need a planet to survive. Imagine it. Alien life forms floating freely in the vastness of space, sustained by some kind of self-contained ecosystem. And the concept isn't as wild as it sounds. Think about it. We already have human beings living off-planet in the International Space Station. Sure, they need a steady supply of food and oxygen from Earth, but for months, even years at a time, they're living and thriving in space without a planet under their feet. But what if we looked beyond humans to simpler forms of life, like the incredibly resilient tardigrades, also known as water bears? These tiny creatures can survive in the vacuum of space without any life support, at least for a short time. If such organisms on Earth can survive these extreme conditions, what's to stop alien life from evolving to survive in space without needing a planet? But how would this work? A community of space-dwelling organisms would need some serious adaptations to survive. First up, they'd need a kind of protective shell or membrane to create their own little bubble in space. This membrane would keep their environment pressurized, much like a space station's walls. And maintaining pressure in space might not be as difficult as you'd think. Plenty of organisms on Earth, from bacteria to creatures living in the deep sea, can handle massive pressure differences. So, a floating space colony could have a shell that keeps its interior at just the right pressure. Temperature, though, is another major challenge. Here on Earth, our atmosphere acts as a natural blanket, keeping us warm enough to sustain liquid water, which is essential for life. But out in space, there's no atmosphere to trap heat. To get around this, the scientists point to creatures like the Saharan silver ant. These ants can handle extreme heat by controlling the wavelengths of light they absorb and reflect. Imagine a space organism doing something similar, managing its own internal temperature by manipulating light, almost like wearing a custom-built spacesuit. And then there's the question of resources. Planets maintain essential elements like oxygen and nitrogen thanks to gravity, but a floating life form would lose lightweight elements over time. To survive, these organisms would need a way to recycle and replenish their elements. One way they might do this is by starting their life around a rich source of materials, like an asteroid. As they grow, they could pull essential elements from the asteroid, setting up a self-sustaining, closed-loop system where everything is recycled internally. Imagine a kind of space reef, a floating, self-sustaining organism, perhaps hundreds of feet wide, with organisms working together, each one playing a role in a closed system. If they need more resources, they could slowly drift to a new asteroid, pulling what they need to keep their colony alive. Even with a perfect recycling system, these organisms would still need energy, and what better energy source than sunlight? Just like plants use photosynthesis, a space colony would likely rely on solar energy. But they'd need to be positioned within their star's habitable zone, close enough to get sunlight, but far enough to avoid radiation damage. The outer shell of this colony could function like a greenhouse, absorbing just the right amount of light while blocking harmful radiation, keeping everything inside stable and warm enough for liquid water. So, why does this theory matter? It's not just about discovering alien life, it's about reimagining how we approach space exploration. Think about it. Currently, our space habitats are made of metal and other Earth supplied materials, and we need regular shipments of food, water, and oxygen to keep astronauts alive. But if we could bioengineer habitats inspired by this free floating life theory, we might be able to create self sustaining, biologically based habitats for humans in space. This means future space stations could be alive in a sense, complex, self sustaining ecosystems that recycle everything internally, even producing their own food and oxygen. It would be like having a mini Earth in space, independent of constant resupply missions. So, does alien life really need a planet to survive? Maybe not. This theory pushes us to rethink the very definition of life sustaining environments. If we keep our minds open to new possibilities, we might discover that life, whether alien or human, could thrive in places we never dreamed possible. The universe could be teeming with life in forms and places we can't even imagine. What do you think? Could alien life really survive without a planet? Drop a comment below and let us know. If you enjoyed this mind-bending journey through space, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more cosmic discoveries. Until next time, keep looking up, and remember, the universe is full of surprises.